Hello, operatives. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 17 of Once Upon a Kill Team, the podcast about narrative play in Warhammer 40k Kill Team. I am Jason.
And I'm Sean, and we want to talk to you about building stories around the gameplay in this grim, dark, terrible universe. In this episode, we announce the winners of the Raveners Kitbash Challenge alongside special guest, Relentless Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Hi guys, how's it going?
Very good. Well, welcome to the Northeast joining the show.
We do exist, and it's not as cold as you think. It's very nice up here.
For our our stats reveal that about a third of our listeners are from the US. So just for them, we're talking about the northeast of England, the bit just below Scotland on the east coast. Some of it's I think it's the most trustworthy accent, isn't it? It's like
Sure is.
It is, yeah.
So if you,
I think the statistic is 76% of all call centres or contact centres are based in Newcastle and the surrounding areas, which is a really nerdy thing to know, but never mind. I apologise profusely.
So if you find this podcast particularly calming and trustworthy, it's because Matt's on it. So we're lucky to have him.
Indeed.
Well, we're going to kick off the show in the same way that we normally do, with the fantastic hobby corner. Tell you what, Sean, do you want to show us how it's done?
Well, ironically, I may not have anything to actually show, despite this being our first video podcast, but that doesn't mean I haven't been planning. Don't shake the head. I have plotted out the new Deathwatch Kill Team, all of those 11 beautiful, unique operatives, and it turns out I've got models for 8 of them. So I've just got 3 that need working up and doing, which means I might not get the box. I could probably just buy the tokens off eBay or whatever when something comes out.
Which do you mean? I've been 10? Do you mean 10 beautiful Deathwatch plus the Space Wolf guy?
Whoa! But you got 2 bearded men on here.
3 bearded men.
3.
So who haven't you got?
Oh my god! Any of the Gravis guys, essentially. I've got everyone else. So I haven't got the Breacher. I haven't got the Horde Breaker, and I haven't got the third guy.
The third guy, right?
We all know what he means. Third guy, of course.
The guy, did they name the one with the frag cannon?
He's a gunner.
I don't remember.
We've got a flamer.
Is he just the gunner?
We've got.
He's a gunner. I think there's a couple of gunners. Can't believe the 8th most Deathwatch person in the world doesn't know what one of the operatives is called. This is. I'm so sorry, listeners.
Look, they're slow moving. I'm not going to be running the Gravis guy. That's the reality.
Yeah, that's true.
Too slow.
Looking through that, so just for audio listeners, I'm currently going through the actual Warcom website with the announcements and the pictures on, because I'm a visual person, and that's how that works. So I'm clicking through these guys here, and the one that springs to mind as my favourite is the Head Taker. I actually think he looks sick. So
yeah, double-bladed Reaver.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm looking at this from like a kit bashing perspective, or like an alternate use perspective, and I'm loving these guys. There's another one further along as well, the Disruptor. Who are you running as your Disruptor, or what are you doing as your Disruptor, Sean?
This is when I should also have the Warcom article in front of me. The Disruptor is the Phobos guy with the little satellite dish on his backpack.
He's not a fraud. He's not a fraud.
I have.
No, he's won us back.
I haven't got it tanned. I have it was the Medic, the Helix Adept from the Phobos team that I'll be using for my Disruptor, because his little Narthesium gauntlet looks like he's still beat booping, interrupting all your things.
I love it.
He's
a red scorpion, I believe.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It was very...
Okay.
But that's it for the Deathwatch. Just plotting out what to do with my Gravis guys. Bits box, as ever, has my wish list of bits that is currently about £25 for 3 models, so that's a little dear.
Well, welcome to Games Workshop, folks.
Yeah.
Have you done any sketching? I love it when you sketch.
I have. Haven't got my sketchbook on me, but I'll make sure there's some pictures up online, because it's going to be super relevant for what I'm going to talk about next, which is I want a Saturnine Dreadnought.
Right.
After I declared at the last show that I did not look at them.
Well, it's too late, because I've got excited. I want to do a World Eater's Heresy Saturnine Dreadnought to go alongside my Legionaries and Nemesis Claw and
Yeah.
Anything else chaos related, because all of mine are within the same warband. And I'm looking at getting a harpoon launcher 3D printed.
That's amazing.
Rather than any of these fancy guns, I want a harpoon launcher that drags my enemies closer to me. And I'm going to pinch an axe either from Scarbrand or one of the Bloodthirsters for the other hand. Because it turns out the Ballistus or the Redemptor Dreadnought hands are about the right size. Who would thought a Redemptor Dreadnought would look small, hey?
It is a massive model. I mean, isn't it the largest dreadnought that GW ever produced? It's phenomenal.
Yes, and it's bigger than some knights. Like, it's bigger than Armigers.
Nice. I like it. So I do have the new Age of Darkness box, and I've been humming and hawing myself as to what I want to do with it. I do have an idea, but I'll get onto that in a little while. But yes, wise choice on the Saturnine Dreadnought. I love it.
So we recently went to Warhammer World, me and a couple of friends from the Guildford Games Club, and I stood in that shop for a good 15-20 minutes going, don't I buy a Demon Prince? And sadly, being halfway through my summer, the answer was no, but it's on the Christmas wish list. I really want one, but I haven't yet worked out what I'm going to do with it. I just want, maybe the Dreadnought might scratch that itch. I want like a showstopper piece, but I don't want Angron because I want to make my own guy. So watch this space. I will make something, I promise.
Sounds like a good project. I like it.
Yeah. So I'm in planning mode. My house has been topsy-turvy, moving my setup all around, so everything's in bags and boxes, and I'll unpack eventually and be able to do something.
This is every podcast. Soon. You've moved a room, you've moved a house. One day you'll settle down.
I hope so. I look forward to it.
I mean, I'm not even in my house today, so that's my house.
Jason, what have you been working on, planning? Tell us.
Okay. So I've basically been in total Tyrannid mode since Typhon came through. I've painted up all of the terrain, which is very cool terrain. It's lovely to have some Tyrannid, spore towers and egg sacs and nests and brood whatevers. And I've managed to use that in a few games as well, so that's really nice. I painted up the Hormagaunts from the Typhon box as MPOs. But I then actually thought that's not enough MPOs, which I'm sure is what Games Workshop were hoping
everyone thought
to do. So I got some Barbergaunts. I tell you, my new go-to is Vinted. There seems to be loads of really cheap stuff on Vinted. That's my tip of the day. I got 10 Barbergaunts for £12, I think, and then I just got
pretty good
5 Termagants. I wish they'd stick to the same thing. One of them's Gaunts, one of them's Gants. So the shooty ones, got 5 of them for like £5, I think. So that was like £1 each.
Matt's nodding away here because he's a huge Tyrannid fan.
Massive Tyrannid fan.
I've been loving it, and I've also painted up the Raveners. So it's been all Tyrannid in my house. I did undercoat the Battle Clade, but I'm afraid they've just been staring at me, looking very orange. Whilst I've been now, I've got to apologise to you, Sean, a little bit because we discussed what the Hive Splinter Rakshasa scheme should be, and I've sort of veered off it a bit, so I kind of feel bad. But then I think you just did
on your own.
You just did the 5 models. I had to do, I don't know how many I'm up to now, like 30 or something. And so I had to do a quicker scheme. So, but it's sticking to the basics of a sort of black carapace.
The color palette is all the same.
Yeah. So we're still in the same Hive Splinter Rakshasa, which I'm loving. Rather, I'm really pleased with the formula. I mean, you might know this, Matt, but when you're doing a Tyrannids, once you've got a basic formula for your Hive fleet, you can then just, it's quick doing everything else because you know what you're doing. You haven't got to think too much about what's.
Absolutely. It's one of my biggest draws to Tyranids. Honestly, I mean, Sean's absolutely right. I'm sat here nodding away as you're talking about Tyranids because I absolutely love them. They're my first love. Like, they haven't really seen much limelight on my channel, but like, I am writing a documentary about my entrance into the hobby just in general, and a big pivotal part of that is Tyranids. So when you're saying about the schemes and whatnot, and like that sort of potato print type idea, you know your formula, you can then like replicate it. Like, you're absolutely right. You know which 7 or 8 paints you need. You know which order is best to do them. You know where you need to fade. You need to know where to be. You know where to filter. You know where everything needs to be, and that cohesiveness of an army. I mean, I've had Tau, don't judge. I've had Death Guard, judge if you'd like. I've started a Space Wolf army twice, and I've never been. Oh, and an Orc army for AOS in the past, and I've never been as consistent as I have been with my Tyranids. Like, I am currently, I'm staring at I've got a Stone Crusher Carnifex on my desk, and I've also got a Non Assimilator on my desk, which are currently in the process of being painted. So I'm well in the realms of Tyranids, and when they announced Typhon and the warriors, they're just gorgeous, aren't they?
The hyper-adapted Raveners, aren't they, for Big Hammer?
Yeah, they're just the prime. It's a big point of contention in the scene. I'm well within the gribblies of Tyranid society, and it's caused a divide. However, everything else they love.
Okay, well, I don't know how long you've been in the game, Matt, but friend of the show, Ryan G, when I was at a tournament last weekend, gave me 5, I think, original Space Hulk Gene Stealers, and they're certainly really old sculpts, but they're actually really cool.
Yeah.
There's like one of them's holding a Terminator helmet in his hand, and so they're really. But I was going to go slightly different on that. I saw, and I've forgotten the name of the guy who does it, but he does the coconut crab style paint job, so it's lots of spots. And I was going to sort of try and replicate that just for the Gene Stealers, but in the colours of Rakshasa. And that's only 5.
I think that'll look really nice.
5 of them, so yeah, that'd be quite fun. And then I think that'll round out my Tyranid NPOs for now. Although I have been so eyeing up a Screamer Killer as like one of my all-time favourite models in all of GW.
Would you get the original?
No,
Mr.
The latest
no
one.
Neck,
The latest
no
one is
neck, all hug.
just a bit better, isn't it? But they're all good.
Just a bit.
They're all good.
It's on a scale.
But it's just one of my all-time. So one of these days I'll get it just to paint it and have it on my shelf and as a big boss battle. So so that's the Tyranid thing. But the next project, this is the bit I wouldn't mind bringing you guys in on. So I've got this. Every now and again, and I think Sean gets this as well. Every now and again, we just get something that comes into our mind and it obsesses us. And I don't know about you, Sean, but we might even dream about it. And it's sometimes the planning is part of the fun. And so my latest sort of craze that can't get out of my mind is an Orc airbase. So one of my favourite terrains that's come out for Kill Team has been the Morok set. So that's sort of a Imperial base, sort of an air base that's kind of a landing pad. And I really like that. And I want to kind of do something similar, but orc it up. And this all comes really because I would just want to get I've already got an Orc bomber, fighter bomber, which I'm going to build. I then intend to get an Airfix 1 Stuka and then use the spare bits from the Orc jet to orcify up a Stuka to make a Stuka bomber, which I think will be dead cool with this gull wings.
I think those Orc jets have a lot of spare bits on them because they're meant to build like 3 different variations.
Loads,
so you'll have plenty to choose from. Yeah,
including a turret and all that sort of thing. And I forget which set it was. Maybe it's Salvation. The Salvation set. It came with an egg box. One of them came with what we called it the egg box, but it was the Generatorum hub or something. But it was quite a big bit of terrain.
Generatorium.
That I thank you've rescued me. I'm gonna that hardly ever gets used because no one ever really used. It went with Beta Decima, and hardly anyone seems to play Beta Decima anymore. Anyway, that's going to be the Orc landing pad. I'm going to put a landing pad on top of that and orcify it up. I have a Taurox model that I'd like to make into a fuel truck. Don't know about that. But
is that the Taurox that you did for your Scions? Are you going to tear it apart?
I've got another Taurox that I just never built.
No,
I got for really cheap ages ago. I wanted the Tempesta Scions, ironically, to proxy into Kazakin. and a box came with a Torox in it. And I sort of got it. I think it was an eBay find, that was. So I've had a Torox sitting on my shelf for ages, but that would make a fuel truck, I think. I've got to somehow make a bomb trolley. You know, like if you've seen like pictures of World War II bombers with just that to get the bombs out to the line, you have to have a
People wheeling them over to resupply ammunition.
Yeah, to load the bombs on. One of those. There seems to come with loads of missiles, so I think some kind of air defense, anti-air missile rack tower. But the one I'm not quite sure how to construct is like the control tower. I want it to look a bit like an air traffic control air tower, but orked. So anyway, if you've got any tips for any of this,
I think I do.
Okay, hit me, baby.
I'm going onto the Games Workshop online store at the moment, and we're going to go over to Age of Sigmar.
Don't make me buy anything more. Shout out to Ross, who is the most generous man alive. He just gave me. I made an appeal, and he gave me an Octarius box. So I have lots of orcified plastic that I can chop up and make into stuff. Don't make me buy anything more.
Now, for those watching along on the video, Matt and I are looking so confused because Jason sounds like someone being minced by a robot.
I didn't want to say anything because I thought you could hear him perfectly. I'm just nodding along. Genuinely, it sounds as if we're watching something on a blue website that begins with O between Megatron and an Optimus Prime. Yeah.
It's all above board, people. It's all above board.
So,
how about
ladies
now?
and gentlemen, and everything in between of the audience, we will be back after these short messages just to check what's going on. Speak to you guys soon.
Jason, you sound like a radio drowning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I've kind of finished my bit. If you want to go on to your bit and hope it recovers a bit. I've got to say, my computer's getting red hot, so I don't know if that's...
What have you got it sat on? Is it on your knees or a cushion or something?
A cushion.
The pillow will be defeating its cooling. The amount of laptops that set fire at university because like people had it on their bed or something.
Well, okay.
Have you got it propped up on your knees?
Yes.
Don't worry, we will be cutting this out.
I was going to say that's why I try to do the cutaway bit for the audience there.
Don't you worry. I'll just cut it. Well, I'm not scared of.
We'll fix it in post.
We've got a Yeah, we'll fix it in post. This whole site has an AI producer, so I can get rid of all of our R's, stutters, long pauses, and I just go, no, thank you, and it just goes.
So that does sound a bit weird
helps.
when you do that. It sounds.
Is it a little choppy? I can
It's a
make
bit
it a bit
choppy.
more natural.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to carry on.
That
to
is already
Matt's
better,
bit.
Jason.
Okay.
I've just sent you something on our Discord, so you could react to it for your Orc Air Tower if you would like.
What I'll do as well, just
Okay.
as a sort of cursory note on that, if it starts to go choppy on my end, I'll type in the Discord that I'll just say choppy in the Discord,
Yeah.
like we'll have that open. However, I am opening up.
Sweet.
That could work.
Oh yeah, 40 quid. Okay, yeah, that looks very nice.
That's why the good Lord invented Vinted. I've got a good anecdote about Vinted coming up soon, but yes.
You can either buy that as is, second hand, or I reckon you could probably do that with a bit of foam. Hack away with a bit of foam.
I bought a bed recently. I know you're thinking, why is that relevant? Well, it came with about 100 bits of polystyrene that I can mould into all sorts of interesting and lovely shapes. So
perfect. Do people still have hot wire cutters now? That used to be a thing when I was younger, I think.
Terrain builders.
Well,
we're just going to Stanley knife it.
Terrain builders.
One of the funniest things alive is a glue gun, and so the only thing that could top that is a polystyrene hot wire cutter. And listeners, if you haven't got a glue gun, you're missing out. You're not maximising your enjoyment.
You're only half enjoying life.
Tell me I'm wrong, guys.
I can't.
I think you might need to find a new hobby, Jason.
He's out of line, but he's right.
If a hot glue gun is the epitome, epitome, the very top of your hobby, bless you.
What are you doing that's better than a glue gun?
Well, sir, let me tell you what I'm doing on my hobby.
There you go. What a segue.
This is a pro. ladies and gentlemen, this is how it's done.
So my hobby desk has been quite busy at the moment for a number of different reasons. So for our visual listeners, you may notice that my t-shirt reads Scum on the Tyne. I am currently in the background process of building alongside Chris Idden of Some City Radio fame, a founder of Some City Radio. I am working with him on building our first Newcastle Necromunda. So it is a very exciting time for me. It's my first big event that I'm organising and hosting. But also, it's the first time the Northeast has had something like this, so I'm really excited to bring that to the people. So I've been doing loads of really boring stuff, but really exciting stuff as well. So all the boring admin and back end stuff that you don't really see for an event, but then the front end stuff, such as creating and curating a goodie bag. So I've been putting far too much money into the goodie bag. I think the goodie bag is actually going to outweigh how good the event actually is.
But that's how they get you to come back.
Exactly.
So you expect it a second time.
Exactly. You see, you know the score. But yeah, on that note as well, Clubhouse. So I work alongside the guys at Clubhouse Gaming in Newcastle on the Quayside. If you're ever in the Newcastle area, guys, get yourselves down to Clubhouse. It's an amazing venue. We do wargaming and board games and all sorts of wonderful stuff, and it's a beautiful venue. So I'll send Sean and Jason the links to that after this, just so you guys can see it.
Well,
it's amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Just to double endorse this. So I'm in the Northeast a lot more, so I intend to come along. I'm really keen to see you in person, Matt. So this sounds great for me. So I'll be there at some point.
It'll be great. And then that means that there's 2 out of 3 people, and that means we've got like a good bit of leverage on Sean to bring him from the depths of the UK all the way up north to where the Promised Land is. So there we go.
It's only an 8-hour drive.
Only an 8-hour drive. See, to our American listeners, they would be like, an 8-hour drive is to the shops for us.
That's barely out of state.
That's the end of my street. But no. So we've got Scum on the Tyne. I've been working on that, doing some work with Clubhouse. We've been doing some really cool stuff there. But actual hobby, putting paint on models. I have become kind of obsessed with bases. Specifically, the Void War bases, the boarding actions ones. So I'm currently planning something which I'll get onto in a minute, but I'm currently in the process of planning something, and part of that is I want to up my painting game and up my base game for Necromunda. And I thought, what better way to differentiate my models than from everybody else's by changing things up and putting a bit of focus on stuff. So I've been playing around with hazard stripes. So Pete, who goes by Hazard Stripes on Instagram, he and I curated a base guide as how to do like this kind of base and weathering and all that sort of thing. It's not been published yet; it's still being refined down, but that's the kind of thing we're doing for the community. I've been really enjoying it, really getting engrossed in that. Second to that, as I mentioned before, my desk has got so much on it. I've got some Trench Crusade, I've got Karloff Veloris, which is a really old Necromunda model. That's going to be coming out in a video very soon. I've got a Stonecrusher Carnifex that I've been staring at for far too long. I saved him from eBay. I've got a Norn Assimilator, which is... It's got his face, but he doesn't have anything else painted on him. And then just to touch back on the point I was making before about the bases, so as of recording this, Corius Con 3 has been announced, which is an amazing event over in Berlin. Now, I've been saying Belgium every time I've talked about it, so to say that it's Berlin and to be right, I'm very proud of myself. Anyway, Corius Con is coming in November, and I am going over there as a representative of Some City Radio. So, I'm going to just sort of drop this now. So this is actually the first time it's been formally announced by anybody from the SCR team. But I am now a co-host of Some City Radio. So Chris and I are running the podcast. We're looking to bring a lot more frequent podcasts to the table. You'll be hearing some familiar voices, Cannabella and Becky Boom and Klaus von Throb and a whole host of other characters as well. But with Chris and I living literally a stone throw away from each other, we're actually playing actively too. So we'll get onto that later on in the podcast. But we've been spending a lot of time in hobby. And outside of that,
Really cool, man.
Outside of that, there's one last thing. I recently made a very bad financial decision and bought myself a 3D printer. And as of this morning's count, I have printed just over 2 kilos of resin. Not resin.
So you're currently riding high. Well, no, FDM's got less of a fume than actual resin.
Correct.
But so
I
how
don't know
how
what
all
the
those
difference
cheap
is.
miniatures? Is it terrain? Is it all terrain?
It's pretty much all terrain, yeah. Terrain and like little bobs and gubbins. So, for example, I've been printing bases, and I've made a little base dispenser, so you can just grab a base out, and you've got that to play with. I think
So it's like Pez.
it's.
Yeah.
I tell you what, right? I don't care if I get roasted for this, because any person over a certain age will appreciate how good this is. So for our audio listeners, I'm now walking over to my little cupboard where I keep my deodorant and my my aftershaves and whatnot, and also
Got to say
my
fresh.
3D printed Q-tips box.
Look at this.
So yeah, not really hobby related, but I was proud as punch when I found that file. I was like, that's getting printed now. And so there we go.
I got really excited. I thought you had one of those book nooks. Do you know the Necromunda book nooks for model displays?
No, I definitely don't have that from Versatile Terrain. 100%.
No, he definitely doesn't.
Definitely don't have that. It's not.
Look at this, Jason.
It's not in process at
Wow.
all. So yeah, I'm. So I got.
So Matt, you've gone absolutely insane with your 3D printer. It's fair to say.
Does the noise
right?
lull you to sleep at night?
It's like whale song. It's like whale song. The oscillations of the beautiful thrum of what is it? The thrum of
pennies being saved.
Yes, pennies being saved. The thrum of creation. I'm sat there in this beautiful zen-like state, getting intoxicated by fumes that I really probably should be breathing in. There we go.
I think that's the end of our hobby.
Cool stuff.
We're half an hour or so in.
Yeah,
we should probably talk about some games.
Yeah.
Jason,
Sean,
as
games,
one
hit
of the most active. There we go. I've played No Kill Team. However, I have managed to squeeze in a very short Necromunda Ash Waste campaign. Just a little one with Dixie from the Guilders Forward Radio, of course, heading it up. We did a little literally 3-game campaign following our good old formula, Jason. And I took out my Cult of Condensation as part of the raiding party. And our mission was to try and halt a ridge hauler in its tracks whilst it was resupplying an enforcer outpost out in the sands. So what was exciting about this campaign, for those of you who haven't listened to the full breakdown, Guilders Forward Radio have done that in their latest episode, so you should go and listen to that, but listen to this episode first. That's the important thing. Dixie ran 2 parallel campaigns. He had the Ash Waste Nomads assaulting the Enforcer's outpost. That was static. So that was happening all the while we were trying to stop the Ridge Hauler getting there. So we had 3 games of rolling roads, which is essentially your miniatures somewhat stay still, but the goalpost gets closer to you. And you just move all the terrain and all the miniatures down the table. But that only works if you're pointing in the right direction. For example, if you're going that way, you're moving back with everything else. So we had all the fun of jackknifing, rolling vehicles, a lot of stalling, to be honest.
Hold on a minute.
Work on their clutch control.
Is this basically one of the Mad Maxes?
This was Fury Road to the max.
Right. Okay, I'm visualing that. Okay, because
yeah, we're
Ash
out
Waste
in
Necromunda is quite
radiation.
Mad Max.
Yeah, we're out in radiation-soaked red sand, huge towering rock formations, and industrial waste littering the place. That kind of setting the scene. And I had my Cult of Condensation, my bloodthirsty, totally not obsessed with the water that's in your body, and they want it. We were trying to bring this ridge hauler down for vital supplies so that we don't have to eat our great aunt.
That's what it's all about, kids.
So what it's all about.
If there's one thing to take away from this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, it's not to eat your great aunt. There we go.
If you can help it.
Moral lesson of the day.
So this ridge hauler started off with 21 hull points, and to do the conversion for Kill Team, that's kind of our multiply by 7. So it essentially had 150 wounds. which we had to whittle through over the 3 games. The downside of Necromunda playing as a massive multiplayer game is you only get to finish turn 2 or turn 3 after 3 or so hours when there's 6 of you playing around a table. So, game 1, we literally achieved no damage on the Ridge Hauler. However, I brought 4 models, 3 of which were seriously injured and out of action. All 3 of them had literally no lasting injuries. I think 2 of them went into convalescence and 1 of them had a lesson learned, which was bloody lucky because I accidentally rolled. I say accidentally because the Delac player ran into me and then he flipped over and wrecked his vehicle. And I was running my crew tops.
Hang on. Did I just hear the Delac had a vehicle?
Well, I couldn't see it, right?
If you haven't played Necromunda, this may mean nothing to you, boys and girls.
Jason's looking a bit perplexed. Jason, Delac is famously the gang that every other gang got a vehicle released specifically, and then they haven't got one at all.
Oh,
they haven't got one.
Suckers.
Game 2, we managed an absolute shed ton of damage. Not me personally, but I spent a lot of my time running around distracting the defenders who just did not want to touch my leader and his chain glaive, who was just one-shotting gangers on bikes, just going tap, 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 as he was cleaving his way in between. Matt, you're going to enjoy this. Kill Team listeners, you won't know this, but it was very satisfying. My butcher is riding around on a bike. If you run it on a bike, you can't have 2 weapons that require 2 hands. However, if my starting skill is bulging biceps, I can wield a 2-handed weapon in one hand, meaning I have my chain lance while riding on the bike, just cleaving in twain and getting nothing back in return.
I hope you're all appreciating these action shots here.
I love it.
I'm loving it.
I'm here for it.
I'm going to cast you in the next Mad Max film, Jason.
God, really?
Because they're coming. Okay. They're too popular. Game 3, I was living the Necromunda power fantasy, being that there is no power fantasy and I was really ineffective. Dixie always says his power fantasy in Necromunda is a naked man holding a stick, and that's the Necromunda experience. So I was nailing it. I was missing all of my 2-ups to hit. I whiffed every single save. Kept managing to stall my quad bike, which is really funny because it's a guy on a crew tox. So it's like he just couldn't incentivize it to get going.
Whipping the back of
and very confidently. Yeah, he's whipping it.
Where's the kickstart on a crew tox? Where's the kickstart on a crew tox?
It's in the soft intenders. That's right where it is. There's a reason cowboys had barbed spurs on their boots, right? It's real right in the giddy up.
Hey, what cowboys do in their spare time is their business.
So very comically, by the time I got my act together, it was the end of the game. So with that, the Ridge Hauler left on 2 hull points. We managed to whittle 19 off of it across 2 games. Essentially rolled into the Enforcer outpost. Brakes were cut. It was just a smoking wreck as it just coasted in through the gates, which means sadly for the Raiders, it was a mission failure. And for the Enforcers, they got their precious resupplying goodies.
Well, they did have Lucky Sean on their side, didn't they? Or were you working for were you basically a traitor? You seem to fail all your rolls, couldn't hit anything.
It was definitely intentional. If I say it's intentional, it makes me feel better.
Sounds a really cool mission, though. I do like the idea of having to chase something, and I think we've seen kill team scenarios where they're like you're on a spaceship and it's crumbling away, and you've got to. And if you don't move, you're going to fall off the ship.
But yeah, those ones, I believe, was that mission.
Yeah, making me think. Okay, well, that does sound pretty cool. At least, even if your part in it was, 3 out of 10 see me, I think was the report card on that one.
It was really good fun. Really nice to get back into Necromunda and have a nice little break from Kill Team. However, the Ash Waste rules are as convoluted as anything. And I will say that there is a reason that we're no longer on 3rd edition of Warhammer 40k, which is what the Necromunda rule set is entirely based upon. So,
up to date then.
So I think From henceforth, my adventures will be within the hive itself.
Probably a good idea. There are a lot more refined rules.
I think
than
you've
the
really sold Necromunda here to our fans.
It's great. It's
On
fine
the other
because
hand,
no one accomplishes anything.
Nobody accomplishes anything, and everyone has a wonderful time doing so. It's brilliant.
Exactly. We just like to roll dice. That's my ethos. Go on, Jason.
okay, so two main areas to cover here. I've played quite a few games, I think, since we last recorded. So firstly, a friend of the show, Nick, and I got together and played the joint ops, the first two joint ops missions in the Typhon dossier. Super fun. I brought my loyalist Plague Marines, the Grove Sentinels, part of the Hearts of Oak chapter, partly because I just wanted to play with them. But actually, they turned out to be really good team to play into joint ops because they're really tough. They don't die very easily, and they have poison, which turns out to be great. So we played one mission where, as per the instructions in the box, you kind of roll to see what Tyranids turn up, and that was okay. But we played another mission where each turn we just picked the operatives that we thought would be a decent challenge, so that because it was a bit easy. Unless you're unlucky with dice rolls, you might just have chaff turning up that you can just kill quite easily if you're a Space Marine.
Well, that's the thing with joint ops. You're always meant to pick the worst choice for you, aren't you?
No, but there's a table you
I
roll
know you were
on
rolling.
to see what. But Nick and I are sufficiently experienced kill team players that we just picked models for one of the games. Anyway, the finale was just one of the best sequences I've seen in a long time on Kill Team. So it was the final turn of the game. We were going to win or lose on this one turn. We rolled amazingly for, I think, 5 or 6 Tyranid operatives appeared next to the final objective. And it's basically the last activation, and we had to kill it. It's where you had to kill the nest. It's like the nest has like 20 wounds or something. And Nick threw a blight grenade into the middle of this, caught 5 operatives plus the nest. We killed the nest. He either killed or with one blight grenade, he killed or wounded all the operatives, but all the operatives that were wounded got poisoned. So on their next activation, they would just die.
Of course.
So it was the killiest blight grenade you're ever likely to see, because there were so many operatives caught in it. So it was a really fantastic cinematic ending. It was like do or die, last sort of activation. So that was really fun.
You're not going to forget that anytime soon, are you?
No, and I've got to say, Nick's a big Tyranid fan, so he had quite a wide selection of different Tyranid operatives that we could play with, and I think so we're going to get a date to play the third game, and then I think we want to play something with a boss, a Carnifex or a Screamer Killer in it as well, or something. And he's got all of these. He's a big Tyranid fan.
I mean, Nick's got
well.
all of them, so you've got dealer's choice, haven't you?
This Nick fellow seems to be quite my kind of guy. I like this Nick. The sound of this Nick. Yeah. Tyranid Nick is his name, is it?
Friend of the show, and you'll be you're a friend of the show now, of course. Now you've been on the show, Matt. And then the other thing, so I about once every 2 years, I sign up to do a tournament. And tournaments are not quite my thing, but every now and again, I have to sign up to tell myself why I don't like them. So I signed up for one a couple of weeks ago from the Rolling Zeros crew in London, Ryan and Matt, who do a great job. They run loads of events. Do look out for their stuff. I think they've got one coming up in September called Save the Last Dance. So it's using only season 1 operatives. So they do loads of these sort of cool events. So do check them out. Anyway, I signed up for it, and for once, I thought I'll practice with one team and try and get half good with one team. So I picked Phobos Strike Team, one of my favourite teams. I had a couple of games against Battleclade, won those. Played a lovely fella called John from Hong Kong. He absolutely lovely. He just happened to be in town. Said who's up for a game. Shout out to him and to the Hong Kong crew. They've played. I think they've played a couple of our campaign missions out there.
They have.
He had some of the most superbly painted Vespids I've seen in person. They were great. Managed to win that game, thankfully. So I was going into this tournament thinking they're okay, these Phobos Strike Team. So a 3-game day. Can you two want to bet how many games I won? Knowing me, knowing what a great player I am.
Was it 1 win and a
Okay.
draw?
Matt is saying 0. Thanks, buddy. What
One
do you
and a
reckon,
half
Sean?
from me. We're
1
going
and
to
a
draw.
half. Okay,
You are a
draw is
good player.
possible.
1.5.
I don't think I'm that good. But, well, let's build a bit of tension here. So after game 1, I won my first game. I was 4th, and I have taken a screenshot of the BCP.
I remember you sent it to me.
I'm afraid to tell the listeners that after that it went slightly downhill. So I played Nemesis Claw in the first game, super lovely guy called Chris, and managed to win against them. I think I was rolling pretty hot as well, and got Nemesis Claw in the second game with a chap called Theo, and one of my guys just got melted like almost immediately, and I was on the back foot for the rest of that. So that was a bit unfortunate. And then I had a sort of quite a fairly close game against Raveners for a third game. I was playing for fun. I wasn't playing smart enough, and I
That's
just
what we're saying.
charged.
You were doing the
Phobos
cool
sergeant,
thing.
I was doing the cool. I was charging Raveners with a Space Marine. It was good fun. Anyway, so I've won a game at a tournament. Let's not bury the lead here. I've won a game at a tournament, so I'm sort of happy.
It'll tide you over for the next 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years' time I'll play again, and we'll see where we are. But Phobos Strike Team, I think, are still really good. So Tom Catchersides gave me a couple of tips. Big thanks to Tom, who is probably one of the world's premier Phobos
He's a
Strike Team
savant,
players.
isn't he?
He knows his Phobos, but sadly he wasn't there to actually position my stuff. Anyway, I was very good. I'm very glad I went. The guys run a good event, so if you see a one for Rolling Zeros, do check them out. Lovely guys. Matt, have you played some games?
Oh yes, I have. So, a month and a half, maybe a little bit more ago, obviously with Scum on the Tyne coming to Clubhouse and with me being quite involved with Clubhouse, I wanted to set up a regular play event at Clubhouse, so aptly called Necromonday. So on every Monday we meet up as a group and we play Necromunda. Now, because there's not really that much in the way of Necromunda groups in the Northeast, everybody's new to it. So a gentleman by the name of Alex and another gentleman by the name of Oscar and myself have taken it upon ourselves to do effectively like a training course on how to play Necromunda from like absolute grassroots.
Cool.
And it's been really, really nice. Like we've had people from all different walks of life. So just as a slight tangent for a moment, but I mean, why break the habit of a lifetime for me? I'm all about the tangents. One of my biggest sort of things in this hobby is about mental health and that sort of thing. And I want to try and promote people and push people to the best of themselves. I want to help them become the best version of themselves through whatever medium that is. And there's a couple of gentlemen who have come to the club who have severe social anxiety, or they've not been out since COVID, for example. There's one gentleman in particular, I absolutely love the guy, a really good guy, and he has not been out since COVID. He's not left the house since COVID, and he, for his first time out, basically reintegrating into a social situation was to come and play Necromunda with us. And he turns up, he showed up, he brought his amazing, well, I say amazing, the Delac. So they're a solid 3. But from a painting perspective, they're amazing. But because the Delac, they get that kind of a bit of a negative treatment. But yeah, so it's just been great to see these people come in, muck in, and have fun. So the first few weeks we started just with really, really basic loadouts. We had like stub guns and knives, and it was 3 models. Points mean nothing. You've got a standard sheet, and we'll just play a little skirmish. And then we moved on to, okay, we've done 3 models. Let's try 4 models, but those 4 models are going to be like 500 credits. And here's your resource and material. This is what you need to see and look at, and you have a little play with that. We'll have a discussion as a group, and we'll go through what's right and what's wrong, and then we'll refine the lists, and then we'll go and have games. Well, as of last night, because as we're recording this, it is a Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday. So on Monday, so 2 days ago, everyone who was there on Monday was playing 1,000 credits independently. And
look at that.
I honestly, like, I feel like a proud mother. It's brilliant. Like, it's been so good. And I kind of, honestly, I wouldn't be into, I mean, Chris from Some City Radio, he's been coming along for the last few weeks as well. Basically, due to work commitments, he couldn't make the first half of it. But he's now got the foreseeable Mondays off. He's now got his rota for coming down. He's down on Mondays.
Perfect.
So there's Chris, there's myself, there's Alex, and there's Oscar, and we're all just helping everybody learn, and it's just been phenomenal. Now,
and how many have you got turning up on the regular?
On the regular, we've got like 9, 10. We had 14 one week, and
that's an immense group.
I couldn't believe it. Like genuinely,
really good.
We had to ask for another. We had to ask for another table. We had 2 tables set aside, 2 massive tables. Like I think it was like 8x6 we had, so you could have like 2 decent sized games on there. And we had to get another table because we had that many people, and it was a tearjerk moment. However, because we've been playing so many games over the last few weeks, there's been so much going on. And one thing that I will point out, we have a player called Jonathan, and Jonathan has a wicked sense of humour, and again, an infatuation for the Delac. And he had a Naxghoul hidden away in a hab block. Now, this was a sump beast scenario whereby we had the club has got a 3D printed squig, but it's a giga squig, so it's about the same size as a baseball or a bit bigger than a tennis ball.
Oh, wow.
And it's a big thing I think it's like on an 80mm base. It's huge. So this thing was bounding around the place, and we'd given it some sort of made of fictitious rules. And it just so happened to be going past this hab block where this Naxghoul was. Well, Jonathan turned round to Chris and I and said, Can my Naxghoul just jump down on top of this sump beast and kill it?" Chris and I just looked at each other, and obviously there's no rules for like jumping on top of things to kill, and we just kind of went, "Okay, well, pass the initiative check to see if you can do it, and then see if you can." And he goes, "Okay." Passes the initiative check, and it was like the most cinematic thing. This Naxghoul jumps out of the window, flies down. The sump beast is dead. It was amazing. We had people from like the 40k tables and even the Age of Sigmar tables. There had like 3 or 4 people kind of come over because they heard the commotion, and they were like drawn into what's going on, and they were like, "Oh my god, he rolled a 6!" And it was just gone. It was phenomenal. So we've been playing a good few games of Necromunda. I have also been trying to get a game of Space Hulk going. There's a guy at the club called Uncle. It's a very long story. We're not going to get into it now. It's not my story to tell. However, Uncle has an original copy of Space Hulk, which is all painted up, and it's amazing. So I want to play that.
Wow.
So I've just been trying to align the calendars for Space Hulk. And then finally, Alex is he's our in-house skirmish guy. He doesn't have time for 40k. He loves the idea of it, but because he's a father and he's a homemaker and all that sort of stuff, like, he doesn't have the time for the big games, but he does have time for skirmish games. And he has actually been trying to get me involved in our kill team group, which I'm trying to get the time to do because I do have the I'm going to look at it because I can't remember. I'm stupid because we've just been talking about Typhon.
You're a busy guy. You're a busy guy.
I've got the Typhon box, and I also got the starter. Say again?
Sorry, did you get Battle Blade or the other one?
No, so I got Typhon.
Ignore me, carry on.
No, it's okay. I got Typhon, but I also got the starter box, the one with the Death Guard and the Space Marines, and I have the Space Marine half of that.
Yes.
But I've never played yet. I've never played that. That's bad English. I haven't played yet, but I'm looking forward to doing so because we have, like, the club has all of the kill team terrain, all of it, since it started.
Oh, lovely.
So, and it's all displayed
Fantastic.
and everything and painted. It's gorgeous. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually trying to play a game of Kill Team. Don't have a clue what I'm doing, but I do want to do it.
Well, as you've
I'll
just
give you a
proven,
game when I'm up there.
you can go from 0 to 0, 0 to 100, in pretty short time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That is cool.
Yeah, Kill Team for a Necromunda player is you do have the power of fantasy because you get to do what you want to do. It's taking other people's models off the table, actually hitting your shooting attacks. Feels so good.
I like it.
In comparison,
I don't know what these guys are talking about. Right, I'm gonna move us along. So, Kill Team News. With the news segment, we'll rattle through some of these. So, some new approved ops cards have been sort of previewed. Have you seen this, Sean? Maybe Matt?
I have seen it.
Are you excited?
God, it feels like a lifetime ago. I have seen it. I'm excited to shuffle things up, pun intended, with our new cards.
I see what you did
Shuffle the
there.
game up, and thank you. And get people moving away from Kill Team being the fixed formula that it may have become for some. We're doing
Yeah,
this
I
map.
mean-
I'm going to take this tack up. We're playing this mission, and
Yeah,
now they've got to learn how to do it again.
yeah, because there are some tac ops that never ever get played because they're just terrible or really hard to do. So wireless tap seems to sort of come to my mind. If someone does plant beacons on me again, I'm gonna scream because that seems to be about the only one that ever gets used. And new maps. So we've got a new terrain coming, a Necron sort of Galadark into the dark. So new
Doom World.
maps, initiative. You won't always lose initiative, or at least you shouldn't do in the new rules because they give you a sort of bonus if you don't have initiative. If you've ever played a game and you didn't get initiative for any turn or something, that should be a thing of the past. Hopefully.
The odds of that are increasingly diminishing.
Yeah. Although having just played quite a lot of games with Phobos, and they have a player that just means you can re-roll it every turn as long as he's alive. Opponents love that. No more news on Tomb World. That's the next season box, so we haven't got anything more on that.
That's
However,
our Deathwatch versus Necrons.
Weirdly, possible spoiler stroke leak for a possible other future box of Sisters of Battle, or a particular variant of Sisters of Battle, and Warp Talons. I'm pretty excited about the Warp Talons, and I'm pleased for my Sisters of Battle loving brethren out there.
Well, we know that novitiates are going to get rotated out at some point, so it does make sense for a new.
We got Sanctifiers.
Dad, no one wants a
As
bunch of dudes with flamers.
The
We want nuns
religious
with guns.
nutcase box ticked.
No, we want our nuns with guns.
Oh, these are nuns with
Or
shields.
how about spears and shields? Yeah, you're exactly right. I think they'd be really cool. Likewise, Jason, I'm a massive fan of a junk pack. And I mentioned earlier in the show that I went to Warhammer World and I bought myself a lovely Chaos Lord. Not the jump pack Chaos Lord, because that would be too easy.
Of course it would. You've got to kit bash it somehow.
Yeah, of course. And I'm currently working out how to put these two together. So I've got a big guy who is ignoring Edna Mode's advice and is wearing a massive cape and a jump pack.
No capes.
It's probably going to be glue or something, I imagine, how you put them together.
I have to admit the Warp Talons look like, so the Warp Talons just that are available on the GW website, like they are beautiful. Like, I mean, I don't envy.
They are, but they're dinky.
Yeah, because it's the old sculpt, isn't it? It's the old before.
It's what is it? It's I can't even remember the box. I think it's like a 2015 box that they were in. So they're nearly a decade old.
So pre-Miracle Grow Bag Marine.
Yeah.
So if true, I think we like this, but it was in Spanish, and I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. But I think Can You Roll a Crit felt pretty convinced it was legit. But
He was very excited.
We'll see. Right, local news. Tell us about our latest Kitbash challenge on the same episode that we're going to tell you the winners of the last one. But what's up next?
It seems that. Everyone in the server has been getting super hyped because you kicked the challenge off before we'd even finished the last one. We're doing a Deathwatch Kill Team Kitbash challenge.
Yay!
Managed to get through that in one take. The kill teams are vast. There is a huge amount of people taking part in this one. I think because Deathwatch and Kill Team are synonymous, people have just gotten excited. And I know for one that the watch is stronger for all these new brothers joining. It's really cool. I think I've seen maybe 10 or 15, I would dare to say 20 different people all kit bashing their own one up, or they're going through their collection going like, I've got this one, I'm missing this one. Really cool. I love to see it. Sadly,
What's the rules?
What's the rules? Let me pull up my own Discord.
The rules, kids.
The rules?
Are there? There are no rules. No, there are rules.
We don't talk about rules.
First rule.
I've got them here. First rule of Kill Team. The rules. Number 1, create a kill team of Kitbash Deathwatch models. So these aren't proxy friendly. We want guys with a silver pad, at least. There's some flex around that. At least five of this kill team should be new since the announcement of Tomb World. So we're going from July of this year. And we have until the end of September 30th, although you know how we are with a deadline. It may roll on, or that could be it. So get your hobby in now over the summer. When
But
it's
to be
nice and hot,
safe,
stay
get it done
inside.
by the 30th of September.
Yeah. Get it done. I can't wait to see what everyone creates. I was going to say, sadly, real life commitments are going to prevent me from actually taking part.
Well,
but I'm just going to have to enjoy this one vicariously.
Life sucks, man. But seriously, come and join. There's lots of chat happening on the Discord. I think Kitbash challenges are going to be a feature of the podcast going forward, and we've already got something in mind for the one after the Death Watch. So watch this space. Community Campaign 2025, the Battle for Hive Perdition is absolutely raging. In Phase 1, the Tyranids and the Genestealer cults kind of got the edge. It was looking pretty dicey for the Imperium, but the Mechanicus have opened up the arms cache. They've handed out the really awful war crime Phosphex grenades, and so far the Empire's fighting back. Dare I say, the Empire
They're
strikes
no longer
back.
on the back foot. Well,
However, there are still, as of the time of recording, there's still a few more days of Phase 2. We'll probably put out another little bonus episode with the narrative on that. So look out for that. Phase 3 of the Community Campaign 2025 starts on the 19th of August. So you can play games with the same partners again on that date. It's getting exciting, and I can't wait to bring you guys the narrative for that. But that's quite cool. Listener feedback section, which I've renamed from mailbag. Changes. What do we got?
Well, as I said right back at the start, from this episode onwards, you're now going to actually see our actual faces. The podcast is also going to be available on YouTube, and we're going to be chopping it up and doing stuff on Instagram and TikTok. And for all the cool kids that are still on TikTok, not myself included, but Jason is across all of it. Check us out at Once Upon a Kill Team.
Yeah. So, and then there'll be a special sort of paid for section where we do it shirtless. I don't think we mentioned this to Matt at the beginning, but he looks up
Or
for
me. That's news.
it. The next section I just want to touch on is, so a few episodes ago we introduced the idea of war goals. So this is, you play match play missions. You play 6 match play missions with your favorite team. There's a little bespoke narrative goal for your faction that you have to try and succeed in 6 missions. They're all thematic, and we're really lucky that I think at least 4. I've had feedback that 4 people have finished their war goal and have fed back to me. I'm just going to go through a couple of them because they're pretty good. So Whooper, shout out, thank you. Who's also given a couple of lovely tips on this as well. So he's had Dear to My Heart, Wormblade. I do love a Genestealer cult. We want to. We'll tie up with your Tyranids, Matt. But I'll prep the world for you. So just to remind, so the goal of the Wormblade war goal is they have to accumulate infiltration points. So they have to be stealthy and track stealth operations across 6 games. And what they're specifically looking for is 2 points every time an operative emerges from hiding, which is one of the Wormblade's thing, and eliminates an enemy in the same activation. So this is thematically brilliantly Wormblade. Or Implant Network. They get 2 points if you score a victory point from the Implant tactical operation. And after 6 games, the result is this. And you get, I've done little narrative bits depending on how well you do. So this was Whooper's result. The Wormblade cell concludes their evaluation having proven themselves competent practitioners of the cult infiltration doctrine. Their operations demonstrate solid proficiency in both elimination and network expansion. Their methods refined enough to avoid suspicion while achieving consistent results. The neophyte leader maintains standing within cult hierarchy, their cell recognized as dependable assets who can be trusted with routine subversion operations. They represent the working backbone of the cult infiltration. operators whose activities remain hidden from imperial authorities while steadily weakening the foundations of the society they pretend to serve. When the day of ascension finally comes, they will be among the shadows that rise to claim their place in the new order. Sound exciting?
They sound like appetizers.
I like it.
We've got more. I'm planning on reading the few more of these out when we do our bonus episode for the Battle of Hive Petition. If you want to take part, there's a channel on our Discord server called War Goals. There's a pinned document in there. Currently, we have like 19 different teams with bespoke war goals. If your team isn't on it, let me know. I will make it.
Yeah, you're doing it on demand, aren't you?
I'm doing it on demand, but I think this is a fun little way of adding some narrative and not too much admin. So yeah, just one other thing. Out the blue, a very lovely chap who goes by the handle Gore-Tech, GAWTECH, he has a 3D printing shop on Etsy who does score trackers, tokens, kill team tokens, other bits. Out the blue, just said, do you want a care package? I'll just send you something. He sent me some stuff. He didn't ask for a shout out, but it turns out I already use his tracker. I bought one myself. Find it pretty good. Check it out. Gore-Tech, very nice. I tell you what he's got that I've not seen anywhere else is, I don't know how you call them. It's like a little, remember compasses where you like walk a compass, but it's 1 inch. So if you're trying to work out what 6 inches and can you go around that building, it's pretty interesting. Anyway, check it out.
You just walk it
I'm
around.
just looking through the Etsy now. There's some really cool stuff on here. That's an awesome. I love the little roll tray as well.
Anyway.
That's awesome.
Matt's going to end up with more kill team paraphernalia before he even plays a game.
All the gear and no idea. That's my MO apparently.
Well, anyway, so we'll be using some of this stuff and also giving some out as prizes. So thanks for that. And now we are finally at the main topic of the show, the Ravener Kitbash Challenge. So just as a reminder for how we got here, within a split second, a nanosecond of Kill Team Typhon being announced, Sean had already in his mind planned 5 to 6 operatives just from looking at the pictures, and inspired, just mentioning this on our Discord, several other people said, oh, that's really cool, we should do that. So here we are, kids, right at the end of the Kitbash Challenge. So I'll hand it over to Sean, who will take you through where we are.
So here is our Ravener Hobby Challenge. These are the final submissions. We actually had many more people take part, but these are the 4 plus me, who managed to enter their submissions for the final entry, and which our community have voted upon. So we're just gonna rattle through. Not gonna rattle. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna go through all of the submissions. We're gonna have a little closer look at each of the models. But what was everyone voting on? Well, we wanted to get a gauge of their creativity. How imaginative were the teams? We were basing it on the new Tyranid Raveners. What have people created based on those rules? We're gonna see and find out. Number 2 is technical execution. As ever with a hobby challenge, being pretty good at painting or modeling is normally a bit of an advantage. And if it's really cool, or if you've tried something new or a novel technique, we're going to love to see it. And then number 3 was our best theme. So side by side with creativity, but it's the why behind everything. Which team has the best lore, and what binds these operatives together? We're going to kick off with the name that Jason told me how to pronounce, and I've completely forgotten already.
Killianelli.
I'd be nice to him. He's doing some stuff for me.
So this is Killianelli with Squad Caldven, the Silent Judgment. I'm going to need to make it bigger on my screen so I can actually read. There is a good, hearty story. If you don't want to hear me read it out to you, please pause the video, read it through yourself. If not, buckle in. The Ashen Halo once stood in silence and flame, launching to defend the Imperium out of their ash-blasted fortress on the moon of Siritat's Hollow. When the demonic incursion tore their home into unreality during the Second Battle of Sorrowhold, they did not break, they burnt. Only a handful of survivors remained off-world when the end came. Too few for a chapter, too burdened to rebuild. They became something else. Excellentia. Not warriors, but sentence. Not brothers, but silence giving form. Now bound to the Order Hereticus, the Excellentia serve where Inquisitors dare not send others. Of their number, none are more feared than squat Caldven, named for the dormant sword once wielded by their captain. Captain Narek, the latest Morning Blade, leads them. He rarely speaks, and draws Caldven only for final judgment. Euthiel, once heir to the Librarius and title of Prophet, now walks in veiled silence, a vessel for fire unspoken. Breach, the shield-bearer, stands unbroken, even as their home crumbled around him. Hask Vaughn moves like shadow through the cursed places, his fell talons burning with more than heat. And Karen Val tends the flames, not just as a weapon, but as prayer. And the Ash twins, Jael and Arias, open the path in ritual destruction, chain-fists carving a space for silence to enter. Their purity seals are inked in silence and soot. Their armor remembers what they've lost. They speak no oaths, make no declarations, and when they arrive, the verdict has already been decided. Where the Death Watch stalk Xenos and the Grey Knights exorcise demons, the Excellentia ends the path that leads to both. Where Excellentia walks, speech ends, and only judgment remains.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Tingles. I love that.
I love that. That ending's really good. And
What an intro!
yeah.
I think in this kind of setting, it's amazing to hear what people's headcanon is towards their creation.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the amount of evocative detail that goes in there, and sort of the nods to the Inquisition and that sort of thing, and it's gorgeous. It's really, really evocative. And then, like, looking at the models themselves, like, just purely from a painter's perspective here, there's a lot of detail being put on these models. Like, seriously, I'm really I love the disheveled look on the shoulder pads for the Terminators. They are phenomenal. Like,
I think that's the ash from their home world,
right,
has fallen on their shoulders,
and it's just taken away, like,
and
the layers of
stained the
paint.
armor.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's so good.
So,
like, really, really.
just
really
for our audio listeners, what we've got here is a Space Marine team, mostly in Terminator armor, and we've got a fantastic Terminator armor librarian. I mean, I think all of us want an excuse to paint some Terminators, and the fact that we've got the Ravener kill team is like 20 wound, really double-hard models. This is a great excuse to use them. I just wanted to paint a picture for our audio listeners.
Matt and I are silently nodding because I'm going to find out what you said when I edit this, because it was a toast to drowning once more. However, I completely agree.
Likewise.
These Terminators are so cool.
They are beautiful.
I really like the idea of doing Terminators as Raveners. That was one of my first inspirations when I heard about the team coming. Ignoring the team I ran away with and designed and built before any more rules actually came out. Yeah, Terminators are such a good fit.
Absolutely. And forgive me, cut this out if this is what Jason's just done, which is describe them to the audio listeners, because that's the only two words I heard during his monologue there, his monologue of toasterism. So for the audio listeners, we have in front of us, we have 7 wonderfully painted Terminators, one of which looks to be a librarian, so the librarian from the Leviathan drop, in standard librarian colorway, but with a nice highlight of yellow on the chest plate. The rest of the team are this beautiful sort of crisp but disheveled and weathered white with a wonderful yellow pauldron and yellow kneecap and yellow aquila sort of motif. Following on from, as Sean rightly pointed out before, the shoulder pads actually have ash just embossed and burned onto those pauldrons, giving a really nice, gritty, visceral just look to them. And overall, I mean, aesthetically, they're all tied in gorgeous, and it's always nice to see that cohesion within a group such as this. So seriously, like, well done, well done. It's just, I love it, absolutely love it. But again, cut that out if Jason just did that, and that was completely not needed.
can marry the two together. It's all right.
Amazing.
Now, Jason, can we tell which operatives are which from these individual models? I believe that two of them are the warriors that a lot of people aren't going to have bothered made.
Well, let's start with the easy ones. So, Mr. Double Flamer here is the Venom Spitter. The Lightning Claw guy, I'm imagining, is the Fell Talon, or the Wrecker. Maybe the Wrecker. Oh, now I don't know. This is a tricky one.
I think the Hammer and Shield is the Wrecker.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, so I was right the first
I'd
time.
agree.
Lightning Claw guy is Lightning Claw guy, I just want to add, has spooky red dots for eyes, which looks quite creepy in a fantastic way. And the Prime is obviously the captain with the sword, I'm guessing. And the Librarian? Who's the Librarian?
I've got my bet for the Librarian. I think the Librarians are Tremor Scythe.
Oh yeah.
I'm inclined to agree there. Because with the Tremor Scythe being a psycho, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Pretty much, I think if I heard correctly, I'm pretty much on board with all of those discernations there. The Flamer guy, obviously, is the Venom Spitter. It's absolute, yeah, all beautifully painted and really good to represent the models that they're not, and that's really impressive. That's like from an interpretation standpoint, it's really good to see the thought process in real life. So nice one.
WYSIWYG with a proxy is always difficult. So making it clear for your opponent and for yourself is super important.
Absolutely. Round of applause.
Round of applause for our first one. Squad Kaldven, the Silent Judgment. Now, we're not going to big up this one because they weren't entered into the voting. But it is myself with Hive Splinter Rakshasa. Now, Jason, would you read out the little blurb that I wrote for my squad here?
Hive Splinter Rakshasa moves like a shadow through the marrow of the hive perdition, silent, insidious, and unseen. Unlike their brute cousins, Rakshasa are lean, cunning bioforms, bred not for war, but for subversion. They slither through the underhive vents and forgotten tunnels, eyes glinting like wet obsidian, lacing the populace with spores, replacing sentries with doppelganger lictors, and whispering madness into the dreams of the sleepless. No alarms have sounded, no armies march, but entire habstacks go quiet overnight, and the people, they just vanish. By the time the high spires notice, the hive's bones will already be hollow. This isn't an invasion, it's an infection, and it's already too late. Pretty good.
I
don't want to pat myself on the back, but I was really proud of that one.
I'd be proud of that as well. Like if that was me writing this, it's beautiful. However, I've got to jump onto the models now, Sean. I'm so sorry.
Let's go.
As the excited
So
Tyrannid
we've got the group shot. We've got the group shot first.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
These photos were taken inside of the light box that Jason got for me because he was sick of me taking photos up against my wall, holding them up with my fingertips. So thank you, Jason.
I was sick of trying to edit out your fingers, mostly.
Well, I think that's just rude against Sean's fingers because the man is trying to show you his wonderful works of art. But speaking of wonderful works of art, so front and center on the right image, I'm looking at what I'm going to believe is your Wrecker. So the very
with the claws,
yeah, yellow claws, black carapace, absolutely gorgeous. And I think the angle, like the pose, it's kind of that juggernaut running pose, absolutely gorgeous. Like seriously, you've done an absolutely amazing job there, Sean. Then we look.
Thank you. I wanted him to feel heavier than the rest.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you a question, and if I've got this right, I will be seriously impressed with my knowledge of GW products. So I'm looking at the right image, the yellow, the tall yellow spire on the left-hand side of the image. That's from a Zoanthrope kit, isn't it?
Sure is.
Which would then indicate that that's your Prime.
No, this is my Tremor Scythe, actually. Because I thought that the Tremor Scythe was going to be like a banner ability. So my Spire was meant to be this this big psychic beacon, which was going to be my banner. But the Tremor Scythe is actually able to sneak attack anyone that crosses the tunnel. So what I've instead reworked, what I've built, is that the yellow spike is like the xenomorph's mouth and can like retract into the shell and like spear up through the ground, grabbers style.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so like, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words.
It's never going to fit under terrain. That's the honest. It's really tall.
I was going to say you're absolutely getting no cover saves with that guy.
No.
Visible
We
from
model for
anywhere
disadvantage here.
on the kill zone.
Love it.
Yep, and we've got a pretty obvious Venom Spitter. He's the guy with the big cannon.
And the dorsal sac, Jason. Don't forget the dorsal sac. Your favourite set of words.
Don't.
I do like what you've done with the dorsal sac. You've paid a lot of attention to, each, crack, line and crevice of the dorsal sac. It seems to be sagging wonderfully, swaying in the breeze almost.
Now, Matt,
so
can you
sorry,
tell what I made it
listeners.
out of?
Kangaroo scrotum.
I think is that one of the old Venom cast, because that's not a new sculpt by any stretch of the imagination. That's like, is that one of the like second edition?
So the gun itself, the actual gun, is from the Hive Guard sprue.
Right. Yep.
It's a impaler, I believe.
I see it.
But the venomous organ. I'm moving around it, Jason.
Sorry, what was the
On
venomous
its
organ
back.
called again? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
The dorsal sac is it's one of the floaty drones from the Secundus box of Necromunda.
It is. I was trying to figure out what it was, and that's what it is. That makes so much sense.
I really like the idea that Tyranids had all of their weapons are other parasitic organisms that kind of coexist. So I really liked the idea of repurposing one of these little floaty gas bugs to be filled with the ooey gooey.
The ooey gooey indeed. Yeah, no, it's a wonderful
Technical term.
conversion. It's a wonderful conversion.
Technical term. I did really want to do the oohoo glue stretch across the claws, but only remembered that about a week after I'd done my submission. So I still haven't done it. It's on the wish list to do, but these are as they are. Yeah.
Beautiful. You've done a smacking job. A smacking job? You've done a smashing job.
A smacking.
You've heard it here first, folks.
But
You've done a smacking job.
Not technically up for in the competition. So
Notable
we'll
mention.
move on.
Yeah.
Honourable mention. Dishonourable mention. Okay, we've got
Dishonourable. We're moving on to
friend of the show,
James Wales,
friend of the show,
75, with the Wraith Spiders. Now, Matt, do you want to read this one out?
I can certainly try. So, the Wraith Spiders are a unique and deadly fighting force from the craft world Uthway, combining the jump packs of the Warp Spiders with the robotic skeletons of the Wraith Guard. Due to their greater size and the lack of organic matter, the movement of the Wraith Spider is more restricted than that of the Warp Spiders. Rather than appearing out of thin air, their portals must emerge from a micro-branch of the webway that has been woven into a physical object, usually the ground. But when they lack in flexibility, they more than make up for in sheer power, bursting out of the earth into cleave their enemies apart with their ghost swords and ghost axes, leeching their souls away from a blast from a distortion side, or sending a silent jolt of warp energy into hapless foes that stray too close. I like it. And also, just as a quick side note, by the way, that's a lot of complex words for somebody who's got severe dyslexia and struggles to read things out.
I'm really sorry for springing that on you.
Oh, that's completely fine. The pressure helped. But seriously, James, that's a really cool blurb to open up with for your Wraith Spiders, and it was a really interesting introduction to this. Addition to this competition, I think, because not very many people would think to bring the Eldar to what is effectively a Tyranid party, would they?
And look at these.
Yeah.
They're very cool.
I really like the webway breaching effects, the wire that's painted with like fluoro pink.
Absolutely.
We've got OSL lighting them from underneath. And what's quite a simple scheme with just like the pink and red and the black, but it just lets the lighting kind of highlight everything even more so.
And just the idea of the Wraith Guard are really cool models in themselves, but of course we don't get the opportunity to use them in kill teams. So this was, a fantastic excuse. If any of you Eldar fans are out there want an excuse to use your Wraith Guard, this is a great, example of how you could do it. So yeah, and I've not quite been brave enough to try this warp lightning effect myself. I even bought some wire and I was going to use it for my Plague Marine Plague Caster, but I sort of bottled it in the end, so I kind of kicked myself. But
For some
James has done
psychic powers.
amazing. Yeah, but it just, it just does sort of say something warpy is going on here, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can
completely.
let's continue with the theme of can we ID the models? Which one's which? The operatives?
Yeah, of course.
So I have to admit, I'm kind of sure on one of them. Two of them, sorry, in fact. But I'm struggling with the other three, purely on the basis that I don't really know the loadout of these models inherently anyway. So if I were to work from left to right on the screen, so I'm unsure on the first one, it could potentially be a warrior, but then I'm thinking Wrecker, then I'm not sure on number 3, and then I'm not sure on number 4, but then I think that we've got the Venom Spitter on the far right, so number 5.
I think you're right with the Venom Spitter. It's the one with the gun.
Yeah.
We feel good about that.
Jason, do you have a stab in the dark?
The guy with the kind of forearm axe, I'm sort of assuming is the Wrecker, but I'm not sure. Double axe guy could be Wrecker as well. So I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, I don't want to make these sound like criticisms because these are just so bloody cool. But if you were in a game, you might have to go, this guy is this, rather than it being totally obvious. But do you differ in any of that? Do you know?
So, to prop James up, he did say which ones they were when he submitted. However, I don't have that information to hand, so we're going to be guessing. I think if we're looking, I'm on the individual photos. I think our 2 axes is our Wrecker. Those look like crushing claws to me. I think the one with the sword and those kind of arm bits on the Wraith Guard are a force field generator.
Oh, right.
So I think the one that's completely floating off the ground might be our Tremor Scythe.
Oh, I was thinking Prime for that.
And the one with the big head crest would be our leader, the Prime.
Yeah.
And then the one with dual swords would be the Fell Talon.
Okay. I can get behind that.
Okay. The Fell Talon has poison, so that's sometimes a clue. But but these are amazing. I mean, let's not.
Yeah, they really are.
They
look great, and they all
cool.
look unique. So when you tell people what they are, even if we've completely screwed it up and got them wrong, if you tell someone this one's this, they're different enough for you to remember which is which throughout the course of the game.
And there's only 5 models. There's not a lot. It's not like some teams where you've got to remember 12 different operatives or something. There is only 5 here to keep your mind on. No, great, fantastic stuff. Should we move along?
I was just going to say one closing note on these from a painting perspective. It's already been touched on the OSL, on the warp lightning that's adorning the bases. I'm really loving the metallic effect on the sword. It's not MMM, but it's very well highlighted and detailed. I'm also loving the really subtle sort of tribal-esque shapes on the helms of these guys. They're really beautiful. And also he's gone to town on the OSL. If you look at what we assume to be the Venom Spitter, the OSL on there at the end of the weapon itself, that blue ominous glow, and also on the lettering of the shield as well on the forearm of the gentleman below. Seriously, like even going so far as to, if you look even closer still, sorry, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here on the painting side of things. I love this kind of thing. So if you actually look, if we look at the guy who has the axe and he's kind of lunging forward with the force shield that we can see full in shot. If you look closely at the gems that are on the hilt of the head of the axe, and then also the gem that's on the shield generator there, there's like 3 stage of highlights with a beautiful orbal dot as well, which just really ties it into being an actual. And that takes a lot of skill and patience. So from a painting, just purely on a painting side of things, beautiful job. Just a shame that they're Eldar, yeah?
Yeah.
Massive shame.
I've got Eldar are cool. Right. Well, we won't get.
Can we
won't
move
get
on to
Matt-
some more
We won't
Tyranids
get
then?
Matt back. Don't worry about it. Okay, here
Yay,
we go.
Tyranid!
Okay, another friend
of
of
the
the show, Kill Team 6, who we had on, who has been our sort of go-to guy for solo co-op play. A bit like Sean, he's gone for alternative Tyranid models that I've got to remember what we're calling this. The
They're
Void
the Von
Shadows,
Ryan's
that was
Leapers.
it. This is, which again are just amazing models. You can't not like a Von Ryan's Leaper. You know, you're dead inside if you don't like a Von Ryan's Leaper.
Absolutely.
What have we got to say about these guys?
They are in line with Kill Team 6's. I've seen a lot of his MPOs from his solo games and everything, and he did a painting tutorial for them up on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I really like that the skin itself is quite muted, that kind of bone white, but then he's used the oranges to really pick out their specialisms, so you can easily tell which operative is which.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So he has a YouTube channel where he makes his own terrain, and he makes it look very doable as well. That's what I quite like. But the scheme on these Tyranids fits that terrain. They almost blend in a little bit, which I kind of feel adds a kind of realism to it. You think if these really were biomorphs designed to take over this particular, city or terrain or whatever, they really fit. So when you see them in the setting that he's also built, they really go together. So I really like that. I like when the whole thing is tied together.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and this
awesome. Dear mate. Over to you, Chris Whitty. Right. So yeah, I mean, again, so there's subtle conversions here, which I'm absolutely all for. I absolutely love what they've done with. So on there's a 6 grid here with on the left hand side at the top we've got a Hive Tyrant's frontal horn, which I mean that is a relatively large scale horn to adhere to a Von Ryan's Leaper. However, it fits so well with the aesthetic of these models. Now, I love the subtle flecks of color using the yellows and oranges and ambers. Like it's just that subtle hint, that nice little spice on top that just kind of like ties it all in nicely. And again, going back to what I believe you were saying before there, Jason, about it tying in with this setting that is created as well. Like, the grey armor and carapace and the flesh being slightly lighter grey. It's a really beautiful contrast to that amber, and it actually feels quite organic. And that's a really hard thing to do for Tyranids. Now, I mean, I've been in, around, and playing with Tyranids for the best part of 2 decades now. And one of the hardest things to muster and hardest things to manage is getting that beautiful influence of nature within the paint schemes that you try and deliver. Now, over the last 2 or 3 years, myself personally, I've been doing the old school behemoth. So just before, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but just before the 3rd edition Tyranid with the red stripe became quite a big thing, I just started doing mine like that because that was my very first codex. And one of the struggles I found is getting that intersplice of in-world sort of continuity. And what I'm seeing here is, well, I mean, Kill Team 6 has absolutely smashed it out of the park. That there's a cohesion amongst all of the models that I'm seeing. The conversions are subtle but effective. I'm loving the double. I had it. I mean, they're not flesh borers. They are not
Devourers.
Devourers. I knew it began with a D. Devourers. The double Devourers. Everybody loves some double Ds. So the double Devourers are absolutely phenomenal, and I really love what they've done there. There's a nice bit of undershadow as well from a painting side. Just really, really, really good there. And I think Sean was the only person who heard that joke, so enjoy, Sean. Honestly, really, really well done. Really well done.
Now, I've quite an encyclopedic knowledge of bits from just trawling Bitsbox. I do not know what piece he's used for his Crusher's Scything Talons. That like heavy carapace with the spikes underneath. Do you know what that's from, Matt?
So that looks to me, it could be one of two things. I'm looking at it a bit closer and I'm thinking it could be some of the carapace of the biovores, perhaps, and they've been added into. Actually, no, I'm telling you an absolute lie. Those are the original silent. They're the old school metal. The old school metal lictor talons.
No way.
I'm sure they are.
Like the praying mantis style.
Yeah, yes.
Very cool.
The curve of the carapace kind of exemplifies that. They look like the really old school style because they've now gone really thin and narrow, whereas they're like big chunky bulbous things, and that's the old metal stuff. But yeah, beautiful.
I love it.
Absolutely love it.
Are we right? Joel, let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay, and now the final by Kai Mundi, who has again gone down the route of using alternative Tyrannid models, but a whole different color scheme, whole different approach. So, Sean, do you want to take this one away?
Yeah, of course. So we haven't got any lore or any prep work or anything, so we're just going to go straight into the models. Now, Kai Mundi gave us really in-depth progress, almost daily reports on these models, so it was really fun to kind of follow the process that they were using and just look at them. I think my absolute favorite is the Venom Spitter. Like, his carapace and the chimney stacks are so massive. And Jason, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to spare you it. But it is obvious, green, and bulbous.
I'm so sorry. What is this? A dorsal what, sorry?
Vestige.
Distended dorsal sac.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, the green really ties it in well. So for our audio listeners, this is your traditional high fleet behemoth. So the blue carapace with red flesh and you know what? I'm going to be nice, Jason. The green globulous sac adorning the back here. I try to describe it in a different way for you there, sir. You know, the Venom Spitter it's got something. You know, we're all adults here. We can talk about it. It's like a medical experiment here. But anyway, the Venom Spitter's back, we'll call it. Beautiful, luminous green, really well highlighted, going from dark green to light green. Nice little highlights on the top, really subtle highlighting there, and that's what it's all about. Again, these are in a natural setting, and cohesion is paramount throughout the entirety. I'm really quite a fan of the Stone Crusher. Not the Stone Crusher. I'm looking at my Stone Crusher Carnifex. Yeah. I'm really happy with the Wrecker, far right, I believe it is. Bringing in their Carnifex claws, really beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, really well executed. And the bases as well. The bases are really cool. I like that kind of like that moss detail that we've got there.
I think it's lichen. Really cool.
Really
I
cool.
really like the Fell Talon, his double whips.
Oh, that's the one I was going to point out. I think he's done great there. And the green Jason. On the top. No, that's all right. But the green on the top is sort of this is poisonous, watch out colour, which is something I've tried to put into my own Raveners. So, yeah, but the whips, I've not seen that done anywhere else. This is, if not unique, I've just not seen it. So, fantastic job there. That's such a cool model.
Absolutely.
I think he used an actual lictor for our Prime because the body itself is way more spindly, or he's done some like limb elongation. I don't know. It looks, the pose isn't a push fit pose.
No, and if you wanted,
and he has accomplished the Yoo-hoo glue.
Yeah,
definitely.
We've got disgusting gloop coming off the limbs in the best traditions of Games Workshop. It looks disgusting, and that's a compliment.
Good. That's appropriate. Matt, what do you think of the, I'm going to say flesh tearers for the Venom Spitters more?
So they're spine fists. So
damn it.
You were so close. So that funnily enough, I was just looking at that as well. So for the Venom Spitters more, for our audio listeners at home, they are actually warrior-sized spine fists. And what's been done here is that they're being basically molded into a jawline, a rear jawline for the Venom Spitter. Now, coming out the front, obviously, with it being a venom spitter. It wouldn't be a venom spitter with a bit of spit of venom. That was a very strong word to say for a northerner. Dear goodness gracious me. Yeah, it's beautiful. The Uhu glue has come out in spades, and it's a really nice thick globule just dangling mercilessly below this venom spitter's jaw, which I believe was created, Sean, in what appendage was it created?
Be within its bulbous carapace.
Indeed.
And with that,
See what I have
that
to put up with,
is
listeners.
all of our submissions.
Okay,
Look.
we've had a little treat here, people, and yeah. So if it doesn't come through all the time, we just worship people who show their enthusiasm for models through this kind of thing. So I want to thank everybody who took part, whether you submitted or not. It's a joy to all of our days. I think, Sean, you'd agree. Just seeing what people create and seeing their progress on their minis, kit bashing and painting.
Completely.
But without any further, with maybe a little bit further ado, we're going to drum roll into the winner of the creativity category. Which submission was the most creative? Now, just to let you know, we had 31 votes, and the winner by a little bit of a margin was the Wraith Spiders. So this is James and his amazing Aldari. Sorry, Matt. Gets the top vote for creativity. Moving along, technical execution. Now, this one was close. This was close. This was within a couple of votes, but by only a couple of votes, the winner of technical execution, which entry included the best technical execution of painting and hobby, is again the Wraith Spiders. This is James, and a very close second was Joel with the Void Shadows. That's Kill Team 6. Very close second. And in our third and sadly final category, theme. What theme did you like the best? And I'm afraid it's 3 for 3. It's the Wraith Spiders for a third time. So big congratulations to James. He swept the board on this one. It's big congratulations. We should probably clap, which probably doesn't sound very good over a podcast, but yeah, really well done. Everybody should really feel good. We had several comments alongside the votings themselves. Several people just saying how great all of the submissions were. Somebody just said, "All hail the four-armed emperor." Not sure that was appropriate.
I feel it's appropriate.
But big thanks if you voted. Even bigger thanks if you took part. So ends this Kit Bash challenge. And we have the Deathwatch Kit Bash challenge coming up. And look out, we'll have one after that as well. But we'll reveal more of that in all good time.
Now, we said that we weren't going to do a prize, but I actually have done a prize. And I managed to secure during the Guildford Warhammer Shops anniversary, I managed to get the Biosigns Terminated.
Oh, nice.
The Gene Stealer in Space Hulk style that's ripped off a Terminator's head. So, James, that's coming your way.
Very good.
Well done, James.
Fantastic. And that is the conclusion of today's show. But I want to give a massive thanks to Matt, the Relentless. Really, 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 really great to have you on the show, dude. And I really hope to come and see you in person up north before too long.
Absolutely. I've really enjoyed being on, and thank you very much for inviting me on, guys. I've seriously enjoyed it. Outside of James winning a Tyranid themed event with Eldar, I've had a lovely time. No, seriously, really well deserved, and everybody who participated, seriously, there was some amazing talent. So I recently judged the Geordie Demons, which is the Norse equivalent of the Golden Demons, and I mean, looking at it through the perspective of a judge, there was some serious attention to detail and some seriously good brushwork. So everybody who I've seen there today genuinely should pat themselves on the back and be proud of what they've achieved, regardless of whether they've, especially you, Sean. Well done. You've done well, son. Good lad. Proud of you. But yeah, no, thank you very much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. I've loved having a chat with you guys. shooting the stuff, shall we say, about Tyranids and
Yeah.
those wonderful appendages on backs.
May they never be mentioned again.
One more time. Yeah, and you've earned the honour now. You are now a friend of the show, Matt. So that's what happens when you
Thank you
come
very
on.
much.
You're forever. You ever earn that title. Next time on Once Upon a Kill Team, we really will be getting the wonderful Linford from Norwich Kill Team, and we are going to be talking community building, how to build that community near you. I'm sure we could have talked more with Matt about that as well, but we're really keen on building communities, and I was lucky enough to visit. Actually, I didn't meet Linford himself, but I did meet some of his lovely colleagues in Norwich. And on that front, I'm sure we'll bring this up, but there's the area where the game is in Norwich, at the game store where they play, is next to Tombland, which is very close to Tomb World. So I kind of feel they've got that
Tombland.
narratively fit. Anyway, yeah, that's the next episode.
Amazing.
If you like what we do, it would be amazing if you could help the show out with a couple of Imperial credits via Coffee. That's the place where you can download 2 of our ready-to-play 3-game campaigns, Into the Depths and Wake the Titans, a handy Spec Ops cheat sheet, and some KT-24 objective markers. There's a link in the show notes.
Just to preview what's coming next for the shop is I've been working through redoing all 9 narrative missions from the Octarius box. So if you've got a set of Octarius terrain you've been keen to blow the dust off and get it out, we'll be making that available in the next couple of weeks. So look out for that. Thank you for joining us on Once Upon a Kill Team. Just remember, it's not whether you won or lost, it's whether your Death Watch kill team nearly runs out of special issue ammunition trying to slay the Ravener menace, only for the Xenoface blade to cut through the back of the Venom Spitter, swinging the combat in their favour. See you next time.